Hi, Frank. Welcome to the Safe Indian Point Demolition BOE Candidate Forum that I've been
Thank you,
hosting
Dan.
here.
Appreciate you
Thank you
having me.
very much for coming on.
Appreciate you having me on.
Great. So with that, I'll go right into the questions. So question one is, what, if any, concerns do you have sending your kids to BB Elementary concerning the school's proximity to the ongoing demolition of Indian Point?
So it's funny that you say that because my oldest child, Frankie, is actually starting in BV next year. So as I've said, I've had some ties to what goes on at Indian Point due to my job in the industry. And I think everything that's taking place there right now, I believe is being done safely. So I'm not that concerned as to Frank going there next year. I do feel that we should be concerned as a district moving forward as the plant starts to be, as the demolition project continues to move forward, because I do feel that dust and stuff like that is going to be an issue in the area. I'm hoping that we have the necessary processes in place prior to that, like we're doing now with the air monitoring and stuff like that. But for my son going there next year, I'm not that concerned. I mean, it makes me feel like if I'm concerned about my child going to the school next year, then how should the mom and dad playing with their kid in the playground right outside the plant feel, like all this guy going in the swimming pool after work feel? You know what I mean? So that's something I think we need to address. Did I lose you there for a second?
Nope, all's
Okay.
clear. Thank you.
Okay.
So my second question is, what do you believe the administration should be doing to protect the kids and the staff at BB Elementary during the demolition process?
Yeah, so I think what we should be doing is doing exactly what Dr. Laurel's doing right now, getting involved, boots on the ground, trying to reach out to everybody who's in some type of political position and getting them to try to force some pressure on Holtec. Personally, I feel that when Joe was in the seat, he kind of just got the sensation money and stuff like that, and then he kind of took a back seat. I think Dr. Laurel's been very aggressive in trying to make sure that he can get additional funds for the monitoring, and I don't think it stops from there. I think we really need to try to set up what we feel is going to be best for not only the kids going to that school, but the community in which that the BOE is going to represent. It's not very often that you have this process going around, right? Like the demolition of a nuclear reactor right in your backyard, nonetheless. So all of us as a community, we need to be involved. We need to be engaged. And I think we need to keep pressure on whoever's the new superintendent to make sure he continues to push the same way Dr. Laura has been.
Great, thank you. So the third question is a bit of a tough one, and it's a hypothetical.
Okay.
So as you may know, HenHud is going to be getting $500,000 from the state for enhanced environmental monitoring around the school during the demolition. As part of the process, the monitoring company is going to need to conduct baseline testing to set the initial conditions against which the monitoring is going to be compared. So what if the unthinkable happens and the baseline testing itself reveals some sort of contamination that's a risk to the school community? What, in that situation, should we be doing as a district?
Well, I mean, if God forbid something like that was to happen, I think everybody in the community would probably rally together to try to figure out what's the best plan. So, I mean, immediately we have to put pressure on some kind of the state and get some kind of a fund or funding at the minimum to try to move possibly the children and teachers into trailers and another facility in that area. Also, it would depend on what the monitoring would be altogether. I mean, how far is this breach? Is it? I mean, Frank G. Lindsay is really not that far from BV. So I mean, like, how far is this encompassing in? It's a hard question to answer, but I think that we definitely need the state to get involved, the DEC to get involved, everybody to get involved. And as a community, we try to rally and figure out what would we do best for our kids, our children, and the people who live in that area. I'm hoping something like that doesn't happen. As I've said, I feel like what's going on right now with the nuclear stuff, I honestly believe that the men and women who are working on that plant right now are doing it safely. I'm more concerned with the dust. I don't think that there'll be some type of a nuclear leak or something like that where people will be contaminated. But the dust is definitely going to be an issue. And how do we solve that? That's something that we need to put pressure on the state to get that done.
Great, thank you. I know it's a tough question.
Yeah.
So yeah, really my last point here is just to address the families in the Safe Indian Point Demolition Facebook group. What in your experience or your interests makes you the right candidate to represent their concerns as a BOE member?
So first and foremost, I mean, I've made it pretty clear. I have a tie to Indian Point due to the local that I serve. We've represented the men and women in that facility for 50 years. So I have the option that I have basically that I think is unique to every other candidate, where I can actually tie into people who actually worked at the plant, subject matter experts who have been there, who know their way around the block, to see what's being done right and what's being done wrong. Secondly, I think I have some knowledge of the industry itself, the construction industry, to try to be able to talk to people and understand really if they're pulling the wool over our eyes or not. I think that's something that I have that the other candidates don't bring. I'm not saying that they won't be able to do so, but I think that coming in on the very first day, I could be able to see, hey, that seems right or that doesn't seem wrong, since I'm in that industry and I've been doing that kind of work. The third thing is I right now represent people for my local union. And I think that coming right out of the gate, the one thing that I know how to do is represent people, represent voices, represent the people who I intend to serve. So if the Facebook group or people who are involved in Indian Point need somebody who's willing to go up there and do the task, I'm that guy. I do it every day for my membership. So I think that they should feel comfortable with me being in that spot, because this is what I do for a living and I'm not scared to do it. So I think that's what sets me apart. And I'm not saying that any other candidates can't do that. But what I'm saying is that from the initial day that I come in, these are the things I'm comfortable. As you can see, the way I speak, the way I talk, I'm comfortable doing this. I do this every day. So, I want to be able to do this for you guys. And I think that we need to do this for all the children, all the community members, all the kids, even the teachers. It's important that our district alone is safe. I feel like over the last 4 years I've been here, you guys have done a phenomenal job over the last year and a half pushing this. And I honestly think that you guys owe yourself a lot of credit for getting to where we were to where we're at now. So hats off to everybody on the Facebook page, because without you guys, I don't really know if we get this snowball effect that we've had. So
great. Thank you, Frank. I appreciate that comment, and also for coming on to share your views. I know it's a really important issue for the folks in the group. And so having you and the other candidates come on is a real service to everybody that's making decisions this election. So best of luck, and thank you for coming on.
Dan, thank you so much, and I really appreciate it.